Welcome back to another Geometrynodes tutorial. Together, we'll learn how to create this sci-fi themed Christmas cube animation that can loop seamlessly. Let's get to it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to model this glowing cube. So let's get a quick win. Let's go into the modifiers and we'll add a wireframe modifier. But for the faces to be black and for the edges to glow, we still want to keep the original geometry. So now that'll give us these edges and keep the faces as well. So in the materials, we can give this material the name black. And to make it black, in fact, let's go into the material preview. To give this a black surface, all we need to do is click and remove this surface. And then let's click the plus arrow here and create a new material. We'll name that glow, or maybe glowing edges. And we'll change this base color to an emission. And we can give it a strength of 10 for now, and we'll give it some random color. I really like teal. So going back into the modifiers, now we've got this material offset. The materials listed here start from index 0 and 1. It's not 1 and 2, it's 0 and 1. And so in the modifier, we can say the material offset is 1. And now we've got this glowing edge. We can change the thickness, and we can play around with this depending on the size of these cubes as well, how thick we want these lines later on. And maybe really quick, let's jump over to compositing, click new. We'll change this to the 3D viewport, Shift A and add that glare node. Go to the front view here and let's turn on material preview, and we'll say always show compositor effects. So then we'll change this to bloom and high quality, and we can just play with the strength a bit. This is something else we'll adjust later on also. All right, so now we've got our glowing cube like so. So for the cube, let's go up into the outliner. Let's actually delete this light by pressing X. This cube will just turn off in rendering and its visibility. Let's Shift A and add another cube. And this is going to be what we throw our geometry node setup on. So into the geometry nodes tab, click plus new, and let's start working with our setup. So the first thing I want to do is I want to transform this cube, and I want to be able to tweak this later. We'll scale it by 10 in the Y, and then we'll Shift A and add a mesh to volume. Drop that in, and then Shift A, distribute points in volume. So now we've got all these random points. You can change the density, of course. Maybe we'll change it to 0.5 for now. Okay, and on these points, Shift A and add the instance on points. We want to bring our glowing cube. So we'll drag and drop that into geometry nodes, and then take this geometry and plug that into the instance. And let's also change this to material preview, and the same thing here, always show compositor. In fact, let's go into the world and we'll just turn down the strength to 0. We're in EV right now, so speed's fine. So obviously these cubes are way too big, so let's scale these down a bit. We can change the scale by dragging from X down to Z and uniformly change the scale that way. The other way too is if we Shift A and bring in a random value. Let's give this maybe a 0.1, plug that into the scale. And it looks like a scale of 1 is too big, so we'll scale this down even more and bring that down to maybe 0.02. All right, so let's set up the camera as well. Click the camera in the outliner and press Alt-R, Alt-G. That'll put everything back in the center. RX90 to rotate on the X-axis 90 degrees. And then we can go into the view camera. So there's our cubes there. Now, let's pin the geometry node setup. And it's kind of boring because they all have the same rotation. So let's Shift A and bring in a random rotation node. We can plug that into this rotation of those instances. So over time, as the camera goes through these cubes, we can kind of simulate it if we highlight the camera, press G and ZZ. As the camera goes through these cubes, I should probably make them a lot smaller too, otherwise they're just blocking the camera, but I want these cubes to rotate to give this a bit more energy. So what we can do is bring in a rotate instances node here, and we can drive this rotation to be continuous throughout this animation. We have 250 frames. And to make this seamless, we need to spin these by multiples of 360 degrees by the end of this frame. So what I like to do is right click this and copy as new driver. And then we'll bring in a Shift A to pull in a scene time. We'll take that frame and drag it to a math node and change the math to divide, and then paste that driver into the bottom value. So now we have the frame divided by the number of frames. That gives us a percentage from 0 to 1, 0 to 100%, or a factor of 0 to 1. So now what we can do is pull in another math node, and we'll take that percentage and we'll multiply that by tau. And if we plug this into a combine XYZ node and plug that into the rotation, we should start to see some movement happening. And let's just shorten this up to maybe 30 frames. We'll work with just a second of animation right now. And it should look like it loops. Yeah, so it's repeating. There's no stutter or anything. These are perfectly spinning. And so the speed, the longer this animation, the slower those cubes are going to loop. So if we go to 120, or the slower they're going to rotate. So that's cool. I think I'm going to still keep this at about 240. So that's really slow. We can actually spin that up and also give it some variation by taking this multiply and pulling in another random value here. And we'll change this to be integers. We'll say from a minimum of one rotation, one full rotation, to a maximum of maybe 5, not 54, 5 full rotations. And we'll take that number, Shift D, this multiply node. We'll take that number and multiply it by tau, 360. So now some of these are rotating faster, some of them are rotating slower, but they're all going to rotate perfectly multiples of 360 degrees by the end of this animation, and so you'll get a seamless loop here. Okay, so maybe let's bring this back down to 120 for now, just for testing purposes. So there's our spin. So the next thing I want to do is we'll click this cube, and maybe we'll rename this to be the volume cube, and go back to the geometry nodes, and we'll add an array modifier. And a count of 3 is good, but we want this offset on the Y so that, let's look at the scene here, so that as the camera moves across, there's still more and more cubes in the background. So we'll change this offset X to 0 and offset Y to 1. And so now we get those cubes repeating for the camera to fly through. So now to get the camera to fly through these cubes over the duration of this animation, I'm going to use a translate or transform geometry node. And if we transform this on the Y, I guess the negative Y, you can see how the cubes move past the camera. But we need to do this in a way that it loops perfectly. So what we can do is we need to know the size of one section here. And if we look at that, you can see that it's actually 19.4 meters because we took this cube and we scaled it by 10. And so you'd actually think that it's 20 meters. So this is a little bit off. And the reason for that is because the bounds of a section is going to differ depending on where those points are. If that makes sense. Maybe let's look at distribute points. Go to top view and we have a count of 1. So if we press N, we can see that the bounds is 19.4 in the Y. But if we change this seed of distributed points, you can see that depending on how these points are distributed, this number, the Y dimension, changes. And so to make this procedural so that you don't have to keep tweaking this distance depending on what seed you use or the size of your cube, we're going to have to do a bit of a calculation. So let's press X on the viewer node to get that back. So for now, let's just assume that we do have to move a value of 20 to get this to the end of the section. And so to do that, we can say, okay, let's combine X, Y, Z. We want to go -20. on the Y, but we need to do that over time. Again, using this factor, maybe we'll press F and give this a name, factor. So this value is actually going to be on a math node where we say this factor times 20, or negative 20 rather. We'll put that in the Y. And so now, at the start of this animation, you can go back to the first frame by pressing Shift left arrow. If we press play, you can see that it starts to move, and by the end, it should be offset negative 20. Let's bump up the array count to 3, and that way we can see it continue. So if we go into the camera, press N to close that. First thing I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to scale this down even more, so maybe 0.001 and 0.1. Yeah, I like that better for now. So I can detect a stutter at the very end. If we shift left arrow to go to the frame 1, shift right arrow, and then right arrow again, that'll put us on frame 121. So the final frame plus 1 should be exactly as the first frame. So to go from this frame back to the first frame, we press shift left and watch for a stutter. You can see that the position of the cubes aren't the same. You can see more cubes in the background, and that's fine because we'll have a fog that will kind of fade that out. But the cube here should be in the same spot as my mouse on the last frame. So, and that's because of that miscalculation. We're assuming it needs to move 20, but it needs to move almost 20, so we get a bit of a stutter. So let's make this procedural. How do we calculate what the bounds of this section actually is? Well, we've got the instance on points, and we could see that by adjusting the seed and how those points are distributed, that changes the bounds. So after those points are distributed, and especially after we put geometry on those points, because that also can change the bounds, let's add in a bounding box. And this calculates the bounding box around an entire section. I think what I need to do to see not just the cubes with a bounding box, I need to realize the instances. There you go. So once I realize the instances, this box will wrap all of the cubes on those points. And so it's the dimension of this cube that we want to plug into the offset translation. So let's take the min y and the max y. We'll separate those out with the separate x, y, z, plug in the max there as well. And let's take a math node. These are just floats that we're working with, scalar values. So we can say the max y, which might be 3, for example, minus the minimum y, which might be minus 3. That'll give us 6, just for example. And then we take that value and plug that into, well, we're going to need a math node here to multiply by -1. And then we plug that into this multiply node. So instead of having that 20 minus 20, now we're calculating that dynamically. And so now if we go back to the camera and shift left to go to frame 1, shift right 1 frame over to go to the end frame plus 1, and then shift left again, the cubes do not move. So that's great news. Again, you can see them appear in the background, but let's not worry about that for now. Okay, so we're getting really close to wrapping up this project. We can give this some additional color by Shift A, store named attribute. And we'll change the type to a color. We'll leave it on the instance, and we'll call this my color. And let's bring the color ramp. Let's set this up so that it's constant. And we'll add a couple stops here. We'll add a couple stops and distribute stops from the left. And actually, let's get rid of one. I just want 3 colors. Distribute stops from left. All right. And you can go on to any color picker website to find a palette that you like. I've got my own pre-picked palette, so I'll just copy and paste these hex codes in here. So you select the stop here, click the color, and then I'm going to paste in these hex codes. All right, so now let's go into the shading. Go to camera view, and let's pull up the glowing edges. So for this color, we need to actually read out that attribute. So let's pull an attribute node, change it to my color, and plug that color in there. And it looks okay. So everything's got like, I think 0.5 assigned. Yeah, everything's got 0.5. So now we just need to drive this color with, let's say, a random value. So every cube's going to get a random value from 0 to 1. And you can change the seed. You can play with these stoppers to balance, to get a different color balance. Maybe more reds and greens and a couple whites. Let's change the density and the volume to 1. We can change the X and Z of this to be 2 and 2, and that way we get a lot more around the edges. Maybe even 3 and 3. Okay. So now we got a lot of these cubes flying by. Last thing I want to do is go into the world, and let's take the surface out and give it a volume instead, where it's a principled volume. And that will throw a lot of those objects into the background so they're not all super bright in the foreground. Maybe something like that. And let's change the spreadsheet to be the compositor. And let's play around a bit with the strength of that glow. Yeah, I think just cranking it up to 1 looks really good. We can move these aside, Shift A to pull in a hue saturation value node. And we can pump the saturation a bit more too, to really sell that Christmas effect. Okay, that's looking pretty good. What we can do now is, all right, so let's set this up for rendering. If we go to the render tab and turn on ray tracing, let's check out color management and maybe a high contrast or a very high contrast. I don't see much of a difference, so we don't really need to play with that. I'll leave it at medium. If you want, you can turn on depth of field or motion blur. You can play with those settings to see if you like the output, to see if you like how it likes that way. Then you can see if you like that effect. But I think this is actually pretty good. So let's go into the output tab. And I'm going to change this to 250, or rather 240, just so it's a bit of a longer animation. That slows everything down. If you wanted more speed in the Y, you can increase this initial Y scale to be like 50. And then it's really flying through because it has a much greater distance to go to get to the end of that section by the end of the animation. But that's a little too trippy for me, so maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 is pretty good. And I don't know if by the end of this render, if we will see the cubes in the background pop in. So I'm going to actually just give it another count on the array modifier, just so that there's even more cubes in the back, just to be safe. And from there, I think we're good to go. Let's change the media type to be video. And the encoding, I'm going to change to MPEG-4. H.264 is good. Output quality, we can do high quality. And last thing is go up to render and render your animation. So that's it for today's tutorial. Hopefully you all learned something cool to level up your Blender skills. And make sure you hit the subscribe button to continue learning Blender with me. See you next time.